The tea is exceptionally good today. Who made this? Very delicious.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. If this is your first time here, welcome to my beauty entertainment channel. How's everybody doing? How's life and everything? Life for me is really interesting. I take step 2 like a week from tomorrow. And I am filming a video in Dedicated, so I'm really dedicated. I haven't filmed a video in months, but I am filming one in Dedicated because, first, if you would like to follow me on social media, my Twitter and my Instagram and my whole link tree is linked down below. Super fun. If you want to do that, recent videos, I think the last one I posted was Cowboy Carter. I also filmed recently like a Let's Talk new releases, so I'm not sure if that's going to come out before or after, but spoiler if it comes out after. But anyways, in my struggle bus journey for step 2 dedicated, step 2 is a board exam you take after, at my school, after your 3rd year of medical school. Basically it's a 9-hour exam of everything you've learned from the past year in your clinical rotations, and they test you on it and they score you on it. So that's what I've been doing. Where have I been? That's what I've been doing. Finishing 3rd year and now studying for this really long board exam. But anyways, through it all, through the struggle of it all, I finally watched Bridgerton. So, error. I thought Bridgerton season 3 part 2. I don't really want to get into this part 1, part 2 business. I don't like being scammed. I don't like being scammed, and I don't like being played and toyed with, and that's what this feels like to me, but I won't get into that right now. I didn't realize that part 2 was coming out today. I'm filming this on the guest. I thought it came out tonight. It came out last night at 3 a.m. My bad. Thought I was gonna film a video before it went up. My bad. I have not watched it yet though, so all of these things that I'm gonna say are based on season 1 through season 3 part 1. So that disclaimer is out there first, okay? So I finally did watch Bridgerton after people have been asking me to watch it for, I don't know when the show started. I assume years ago, because Netflix takes like 10 years to release a season. But I finally did, and I actually had a lot of fun, and I had a lot of thoughts. So I already know the video is going to be long. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it's not going to be short. At least I don't anticipate it being short. You never know, I could surprise myself, but I don't like surprises. So I also typically do not surprise myself. Anyways, so I'm gonna go through like character by character as I typically do, and then like in the character I'll talk about the different seasons. You'll see. You'll see. So I want to okay, disclaimer. I have not finished Queen Charlotte. I only got to, because I was watching Queen Charlotte and then season 3 of Bridgerton came out, so I had to go back and watch that. So I only got to like episode 2 of Queen Charlotte. So again, I have not watched that show either. But speaking of, the first character I would like to talk about is the royal family, Miss Queen Charlotte. She is a really messy bitch who's also like not very good at being messy, because like a messy bitch is able to be discreet in their messiness. Queen Charlotte is not. It's obvious. It's not just obvious to Lady Whistledown. Lady Whistledown just calls it out. It's very obvious how insecure Lady Whistledown, such an interesting smell, how insecure Lady Whistledown makes her feel. And if it's not clear to everyone, they're not using their eyes correctly. However, ma'am has influence. Obviously she's the queen and everything. Like because I rewatched all of Bridgerton before making this video, and I was watching season 2, and I was like, how on earth did Anthony get away with, how did that wedding ending at the altar, how did that just dissipate? I totally forgot how it was Queen Charlotte who shut that scandal down entirely. Anthony, go kiss her feet, because you really should have been stoned in the park. Like, I don't know if this is the era of stoning, but he should have been stoned in the park. I can't right now. I'm getting into him at a completely different point in time, because what a messy man. Think of the messiest bitch you know. It's a man. Anyways, back to Queen Charlotte. None of your matches work, sister. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we stop trying to match. Maybe we stop trying to match up the Bridgertons with your family friends. Daphne, that didn't fucking work. Now Francesca, that didn't. First of all, speaking to the man you chose for Francesca, do you know the kind of gall and audacity and downright you have to be to say on the second time you meet someone, I want 8 children. Who's carrying the 8 children? Will it be you? Otherwise, I don't know. Why would you do? It was his second time meeting Francesca. Because I watched it again. It was his second time meeting Francesca. And what he said is, I want a big family. I want 8 kids. A big family and 8 kids are 2 different things. To me, 4 children is a big family. Matter of fact, 3 children. Have you ever corralled 3 toddlers? That's a big family. He said 8. My sister, Francesca's my sister. Francesca said, I'm done with this conversation and my brother needs me, period. Because that's a threat. I wholeheartly believe that is a threat. He threatened her. What do you mean you want 8? Who's carrying the 8? Do you know what preeclampsia is? Who's carrying the 8 kids? Who's carrying the 8 kids in a time where your husband can say, actually cut the wife open? They were just cutting in blind, killing the ladies. Who's having 8 kids in that time? No, that was a threat, and I already didn't like that man because he looked like he could be her fucking father, besides the point. But who's having 8 kids? Are you having the 8 kids? Because if you're having the 8 kids, that's totally fine. All power to you. But it doesn't seem like he's the one who's going to be carrying the 8 children. It doesn't seem so. And I just, on the second time you meet someone who is fresh out of society, by the way, I want 8 children. So you're basically telling her, I expect you to carry 8 children and deliver 8 children, because, you know, deliver had to be that way because they didn't know what they were doing, cutting people open. They're just killing women left and right. How interesting. I was talking about Queen Charlotte and I got to that. I don't know his name. Starts with a V, something of the sort. Him? Whatever, it doesn't matter. I like the other man for Francesca. I don't know if she likes him, but we're getting into that later. Next up, we have the Mandrills family, who because okay. So those are my children in the room because they're not allowed to be out here while I film. They're not allowed to be out here. I'm so sorry. I really enjoy the Mandrills. I enjoy Lady Mandrills the most, obviously. But Mr. Mandrills, so he's not a lord. No, his son is the lord, right? My TV was doing something. Are you possessed? Anyways, he knows a scammer when he sees one. And what was his name? He clocked Lord Featherington right straight up. Because what do you mean? Where'd you get all this money from? The whole family, Featheringtons, not all of them, they had a bunch of scammers and liars. I love them down. I'll get to them in a second. Bunch of scammers and liars. All the men, bunch of scammers and liars and gamblers through and through. And he clocked it because you're a liar. What mines? Where's your jewelry? What mines? Where's the money? Where's the money? Because you're always asking everybody else for money. So what money do you have? Sir Mandrills, he clocked that. So he's a boxer, you know, fight, punch, you know. He took that money from Lord Featherington, as he should. I'm sorry, I don't know. Like it was one integrity, and you know, that's great. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having integrity. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you can't box for the rest of your life, and your children need to eat. Because their son didn't become lord in that season. They need to eat. So I don't necessarily blame him for that. Now, Lady Mandrills. Also, I've had these About Face foundations sitting in this card for months, and they are still in their packaging. So we're gonna use them today, finally. D3 Olive, D3 Neutral. We're gonna see which one. But Lady Mandrills, I love her. I think she's fabulous. First of all, she's too fab. She was fabulous before we got all the jewels, before we got all the dresses. Why can't I open this? Before we got the jewels, before the dresses, she's fabulous. She's feisty, and that's exactly how you should be. Period. I love her. His wife is better than me. Why are you about to ruin us over this dingy ass bar? You don't need the bar that bad. However, they're gonna find a problem with them being a part of the ton anyways. So I guess you might as well do whatever you want. And clock how it was another black member of the ton who said, you can't be doing this. It be your own people. They're gonna find a problem with the former boxer. There's an eyelash in my eye. They're going to find a problem. It's still in there. They're going to find a problem with the former boxer being in the ton. Anyways, so you might as well just do whatever you might as well. Okay, so deep 3 neutral looks very red. But let me shake. But I enjoy their family. I'm excited to see more. I don't know, when they moved into that house, old girl, the housemaid, lady's maid, whoever, had this real look of disgust on her face. What's that about? I don't like that. You better put some respect on. I didn't like the look. I did not like the look. I didn't like the look, and I'm frightened to see what becomes of that look, because it was just a little much to me. So this is D3 olive. Okay. Ooh, went all over my legs. Ah! And this is D3 neutral. I'm gonna go with olive. Next up, we have the Danbury house. Lady Danbury is my queen. I'm sorry, Queen Charlotte. I'm sorry. I know this is like your ton or whatever. Lady Danbury runs the ton. Lady Danbury runs the ton. She has run every single season. Without her, nobody would be married. Nobody would be married. Nobody would have children. Everyone's families would be in disarray. And Lady Whistledown would have nothing to write about. Lady Danbury makes careers. Lady Danbury makes heirs. This is an interesting color. I'm going to have to mix deep neutral because it looks different. It doesn't look olive. Interesting. She makes each season go round. But this is too red. She knows all. She knew Duke Hastings. She knew Simon. Love that girl. She knew Kate and Anthony before they even admitted it to themselves. The funniest thing to me in season 2 was that fool conversation that she had with Kate, because she was like, you're a serious person, right? Like, you're not somebody who would jeopardize you, your sisters, your entire family's future over a man, right? She's like, I hope I've like sized you up correctly and that you are not in fact the fool that you are acting like you are. Like, I hope that that's correct. I loved that conversation. I thought it was hilarious. Okay, it's blending out to a more manageable color, but we will see. I also love her relationship with the Queen. I have not watched Queen Charlotte yet. I know I need to watch Queen Charlotte. I understand that. I love their relationship and how she can really just like push her buttons and get things done. Because without Lady Danbury, Queen Charlotte, love my sister down, but she's not running things. She's not making things move. She keeps putting these failed matches together and I don't know why. Like, Lady Danbury is actually in charge, she talks her shit and she walks her shit, Eloise. She talks her shit and walks her shit, Eloise. All right, and I am putting Simon Duque, I'm putting him in the Danbury household because that's her son. Does Lady Danbury have kids? I don't know. I think she does. Irrelevant. This is her son. So, his name is Simon, right? Do I like Simon? Do I like any of the men in the show? I don't know. Because his life is trash. Oh my God. Those flashbacks, all right, Shonda. I know Shonda doesn't do everything on the show, but I'm just gonna be saying her name a lot because that's what I'm gonna be doing. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I understand producers produce the writing. If you know, you know. I understand. It's just what I'm gonna keep on saying that, just so you know. The scene where he killed his father is one of the funniest scenes in this entire show. In all 2.5 I can't get on this part 1, part 2 bullshit again. I really can't, because I'm gonna get really, really angry, and I'm trying to be a healed and healthy person. One of the funniest scenes in 2.5 seasons of the show. First of all, raw heart failure. Raw, I'm gonna get into my other bag of this. Raw heart failure. Man was drowning in his own secretions. Man was drowning. It was giving S3 down. He was drowning in his own secretions. I just can't imagine. Raw heart failure, seeing it now is crazy. Raw, that was raw heart failure. And from the scenes that I'm not, it's a very slippery slope to say that, like, being a bad person, you should have this disease because you're bad. That's a slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope, and I don't agree with that slippery slope. This is a television show. He deserved worse. From the flashbacks that I saw, first of all, your wife is giving birth, and they take the baby and they give the baby to the father, and the father takes the baby and shows the baby off to all his friends while his wife is literally bleeding out in front of him. Uterine atony down is happening. Postpartum hemorrhage is happening. Does nobody cares? Even the doctor don't care. Even the doctor do not care. Everybody's like, oh, we have a son, we have an heir. She's gone. Why is Lady Danbury the realest nigga in the room? What's going on? What's going on? Let me stop. The man is a demon. The man is a demon, and Simon grew up to be I don't want to call him proper because he's a rake. Grew up to be a good person, and I use heavy quotes, in spite of that. Those flashbacks, I just thought it couldn't keep getting worse. I thought, like, oh, there's no way his dad is going to continue to do, like, really horrible things and say really horrible things. And then I remembered the scene of when his wife was giving birth and she was dying from hypovolemic shock, and he didn't give not one singular fuck because she had finally birthed a son. And you had tortured your wife so much that even though it was unsafe for her to have children at that point, you said, I have no respect. No, forget love. I have no respect for you if you don't give me a son. Raw heart failure. Back to Simon. So, the little thing with Daphne, was like the little thing, like they're like the start of their relationship, the whole like, oh, like fake. Everybody knows I love a good fake dating, always have, always will. Theirs was, interesting because it was quite clear that they both liked each other. And then him, in all his like genius state, obviously the man's a genius, Lady Danbury told you, like, are you about to like ruin her chances of being the prince? If you're not serious about her, you better not ruin her chances of being the prince. And he took that as, I must now embarrass her and annihilate everything we've built between us, whether it was fake or not. Because yes, you were faking a relationship, but you were also like growing close to each other as like friends, just like people in general. And he took what Lady Danbury said and said, actually, I am going to just embarrass you. I'm going to deny he's like, I deny it all. I deny the fact that we were ever speaking. I deny the fact that we hung out together. I deny the fact that I was doing this to help you. And I deny that. We were never friends. We were never friends. It's laughable that you thought we were friends. You're a distraction. Why would you ever think we're friends? It's not like we've spent the past 2 weeks promenading together nearly every single day. It's not the fact that at every single ball, we always are drawn to each other and we're always talking and laughing and singing and dancing and happy so love. No, we were never friends. And because, like, let's be clear, because Lady Danbury gave him that advice, and that was his like action after getting the advice of don't ruin Daphne's chances to become a princess. That was his take on what Lady Danbury wanted him to do. Not the brightest bulb. Not the brightest bulb. Never was the brightest bulb. Whatever. And then, you know, I'm gonna get on the men for being rakes, because every single one is a rake. Don't know what's going on there. I know what's going on there. The scene where they get caught by Antony, there's a whole lot of buffoons in the show. Antony's buffoon him. Everyone's a buffoon. To disrespect her honor, to get hot and heavy in the garden while the entire ton is 50 feet away. Because it wasn't a peck, it wasn't a handhold. You are literally dry humping her in the garden. That's what you're doing. And nothing will happen to you. And you know that. Your honor is not gonna be, I keep touching my face. Your honor is not gonna be disrespected. Your entire family line is not gonna be ruined. None of that is gonna happen to you. And you know that. But you still were like, no, I must. I can't. You're a grown man. You can calm down. You've always been able to, and you will be able to for the entire future. And you're just being... Anyways, then this duel thing, in all seriousness, cause that's why are you, I'm getting into Antony in a second. I don't know why you're pointing a gun at I don't know why you're doing that. But this whole, like, I'd rather die than marry Daphne, like, you could have explained yourself. It seems like you were okay with being seen as the villain when you can offer a very, very simple explanation, and you did. So it wasn't like it was impossible for you to share why you didn't want to be married again with her, but you wanted someone to point a gun at you. That doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. Like, you're not your father. Like, your father was a villain. Your father was a villain, and was a villain, didn't care that he was a villain, didn't care who we are, didn't care that he embarrassed his son twice, didn't care that his son came crawling back with Lady Danbury begging to be loved and, like, adored by his father, and his father said, actually, I renounce you again. I renounce you again. I renounced you a couple years ago, but I renounce you. I actually, like, cast you away again. So if he wasn't traumatized before, it's now double traumatization. So you're not your father, but, like, you can explain yourself. You have the ability to explain yourself. I don't know. It's giving melancholy. It was giving melancholy. It was giving melancholy, and you know, there's no one to talk to back then, and I understand that. But it was really giving melancholy down. Why are you staring down the barrel of a gun when you could just explain? Well, I mean, you did disrespect her honor in the garden, so Antony had to do something. Couldn't let you get away with that completely, but you also could have married her. And if you couldn't, you could have explained why, instead of, like, letting, because Antony could have shot Daphne. He could have killed his sister, and how are you going to explain that to your mother? How are you going to explain that to the ton? An illegal duel happening, and Daphne Bridgerton is now dead. How were you and Simon going to explain? How was Simon and Antony going to explain that? Just a little bit curious. A little bit curious. They're not. Another thing I wanted to address with Simon, not really Simon, but the actor and, like, white women on TikTok. So the actor left the show after season 1, I learned, because he just didn't want to be on the show anymore, which is a valid reason to leave a show. Everyone does that all the time. Like, what's wrong with that? But for some reason, women of this variety think that it's like a fun and fine thing to do to harass an actor over and over again, even after he said, I don't want to come back to the show, and act like he's doing them like he's a personal slight against them. The way you guys talk about the black characters on this show, what are you talking about? Would you want to go back to a place in what? Do you not read each other's comments of the things you guys, even in the TikToks of, like, asking him to come back to the show? It's giving very I own you. It's giving very I own you. And so, like, would you want to come back to an environment where the fans are giving I own you? I wouldn't, but that's just me. I think everyone is different. Learned that from, I didn't engage with the Bridgerton fandom too much, but I've seen like clips and stuff of like the things being said and the things said in the past. Move on. Respectfully, move on. If somebody doesn't want to come back to the show, move on. You can be like, oh, I wish, I hope. But to be rude, move on. Anyways, moving on. Oh, I don't have my water here. That was an error. I'm a yapper. Whatever. Next up, we have the Cowper household, which I'm only talking about Cressida. I don't give a fuck about her parents who don't care about her. I don't care about them. I don't care about them because they have no couth and they're disrespectful. I think her mother is a vindictive witch. I think her father is even more of a vindictive witch. I think her mother needs to find somebody who actually loves her, but she can't because she's trapped in that marriage. And I think her father needs to, I don't know. I can't say that. So, Cressida. I love a complex main character. I love a complex character, period. So like my favorite characters in this show are like the characters that piss everybody off. Cressida's not my favorite though, but like the characters that piss everyone off are usually my favorite characters. Cressida is so interesting to me because she's rude and disrespectful and vindictive. Look at her parents. That's why she's rude, disrespectful, and vindictive. But it's so interesting how the great or like not so great fall, because Cressida really thought she was the hot. Ooh, that concealer dried down too fast. That was my fault. I was just talking, and that's why the concealer dried down so fast. But let me add some of this concealer to make it blend out a little bit easier. I'm using the Hourglass concealer. I just mixed another one in there, but I'm trying the Hourglass concealer that everyone keeps talking about because it's also been sitting in this cart for months unused. So we're gonna use it now. Back to Cressida. I enjoy learning more about like the why behind why she's like that this season, because it has, for the past 3 years, it has not been Cressida's time. Almost had a prince, now a spinster. Almost had this lord in this new season, spinster. Who, something happened in the second season. It's not her time. Every time she thinks she has a man, a Bridgerton, and I wonder if that's gonna happen with Eloise. Well, Eloise, but I don't know. I don't write the show, so I'm not gonna tell. I can't tell them what to do with this, with the character. I don't know. Cressida to me is a really, really broken girl, as are all the girls in this entire ton, because they're being raised in a society that doesn't care about them. Her family's terrible, and she's 3 seasons out, no husband, no friends. And in all honesty, Eloise is only really friends with her because she's not friends with Penelope anymore. And even in their friendship and how they talk, and how Eloise talked at Penelope, not with Penelope all the time. And she is doing a kind of similar thing with Cressida. And Cressida had to clear her a little bit in like some of their conversations, because Eloise really thinks she's on this like really, really high horse, and it's like, you're down here with the rest of us. Like, Cressida just kept getting embarrassed over and over and over again. You have the prince. Daphne says no. This lord who the vegan lord, I don't know his name. I was too old for both of you anyway. You got him, Penelope has him. You got him, Penelope, a hot air balloon about to hit Penelope, and he ran over to protect her and left you standing there. You asked him to get you lemonade, and he's not coming back, because what's he doing? He's talking to Penelope. He's talking to Penelope. Cressida can't catch a break. I'm not saying that Cressida like doesn't do and say horrible things, because she very much does. Okay, the face is interesting. I definitely should not have let that concealer dry down for so long. That was in my gray hair, so I could not blame. Actually, old tricks. All right, back to what I was talking about. Something else I want to talk about with Cressida. I'll talk about like clothing and makeup, like towards the end. All of her outfits keep getting worse. Am I supposed to like, is it like signifying something? Because they all just keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Like season 3, I can't even begin to describe what they had her in. And I'm wondering, is this supposed to like foreshadow her like breaking down? Like I'm confused and I'm concerned. I'm all confused and I'm concerned. And then another thing with Eloise and Cressida, because this is now her best friend apparently. Eloise, please. Cressida is literally mourning her future because again, she's 3 seasons in, no husband, and all of her prospects keep choosing anyone else but her. And she's genuinely mourning her future, and Eloise like doesn't care. And the reason why Eloise does not care is because her mom actually loves her. And so Eloise will be completely fine in her future if she is a spinster for the rest of her life. But Cressida's dad already cut their allowance in half. I didn't catch that the first time I watched, was that season 3? The first time I watched season 3? But yeah, man's cut their allowance. Cut their allowance. I guess to like speed up this marrying process, whatever that means. And she might have to marry one of her dad's old friends. That's tragic. That's truly tragic. However, and it's not really however, because you can be a very, very mean person and still have like terrible things happen to you. So it's not really like a or, it's an and sort of situation. But that's the cowper. That's what I want to discuss. Why is there so much more on this side of my face? Amanda, please. Amanda, please. You have to be equal with your blush distribution. I don't know what happened over here. Also, the lighting keeps changing. I only really use the sun as a light, so I'm really dependent on what's going on outside and like things are happening outside. The next family I would like to discuss are the Sharmas. First, I'll start with mother. I'll start with Mary Sharma. Mary is a queenie. She's a very oblivious queen. A very, very oblivious queen. That was not what I intended to do. She definitely oblivious, but also like her very, very nasty parents were in town. So I don't think she was like going to pay attention to anything else except the fact that she's back in the city that like so vehemently rejected her like 30 years ago because she decided to marry beneath her station. But she was oblivious to everything. How are people who are not even in your immediate family noticing these things and you're not? That's so interesting to me. But her parents are horrible, nasty, rancid, disgusting scum of the earth. Just terrible all around. Just terrible. The audacity of your mother to speak to the daughter she birthed that way and hold such contempt for her. At that dinner table, her father looked like he wanted to call her a slur. It was like it kept looking like he was just holding back from saying the slur he really wanted to say. She was actually very, very kind to them. Like her responding in that conversation, she didn't call them disgusting, horrid people. She really just said, it's not easy for me to be abandoned by the only family I've ever known. She really could have said much worse, and she in fact should. Because they're not good people. They're not good people at all. And I feel bad for her. Hopefully she's living her life well, comes back to London, and of course her family's in the drama again because her daughters are just oblivious and messy. Oblivious just like their mom, and messy. I don't know if their mom is super messy, but, well, no, their mom's not super messy, but that's besides the point. Next is Kate. This is who's messy. The thing is, Kate is messy unintentionally because I do believe that she did not know what her feelings for Anthony were. I don't think she was able to like pinpoint whether it was love or hate until that hot and heavy heaving B scene. I don't think she was able to sort of like put the pieces together and figure out why she like hates him so much is because she loves him so much. I don't think she was I don't think she was able to do that until that B scene where they both very, at least to me, that's why when they were like I didn't know this whole time, what was all that heavy breathing? What was all that heavy breathing? The thing is, Anthony is such a transparent person. He's not difficult to read at all. That's why she knew exactly the type of person he was and did not want that for her sister from the very first conversation. What do you mean you're talking about women like dogs? Women like dogs on the terrace for everybody to hear. Why wouldn't she automatically know the type of person that you were based on that? Why wouldn't she? That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me. Her and Anthony are so similar because they're both self-sabotagers. They're both really, really, really bad self-sabotagers. The wedding was about to be off. The wedding was about to be off. And she actually said, actually, never mind, you're going to marry my sister. The wedding was about to be off. Everyone was gonna be saved, not complete and total embarrassment, but at least not at the altar, dropping bracelets at the altar, looking longingly into the bridesmaid's eye at the altar. At least it wasn't gonna be that. But she said, actually, no, you will marry my sister. Self-sabotage. Because now she's snot-nosed crying in the woods. Because you self-sabotage yourself. And they both do it for the same reasons, their duty. This is where it gets interesting because they're both the eldest sibling, and I think it's like a very different, I think like Kate is a very interesting like take on being a big sister, because in the name of protecting your sister and like setting her up for this life that you think will be, that again, you think will be good for her. It's not just Kate that thinks that. All of society says that when you're married, your life gets better even though it gets worse. And like setting your sister up for this new life, like bringing her into the fold of society and like protecting her from dangerous things like Anthony. Kate was making her sister so much more vulnerable to horrible things in life. That's where you have to like, that's where it's like a parenting thing, also like a sibling thing. You can't overprotect so much they're incapable of going out and existing into the world by themselves. And I think that's where Kate, the error of Kate's ways is she did so much. Her sister wasn't like, how did she not see that? How did she, I'm yelling. How did she not see that? It doesn't make sense. The reason it doesn't make sense is you didn't give your sister the tools to go out into the world and fend for herself. You did all the fending to protect her. She was younger. I get it. Your father died and everything. But she's incapable of noticing things in the world around her. Especially when it came to that like dinner with Mary's parents. I'm sure Kate didn't know that Mary's parents were like that cruel, but to send her sister into that dinner with the grandparents without knowing anything about the situation was a grave error and a grave miscalculation. That's where overprotection can turn into like imprisonment. You can't have no tools to exist. And she threw her to the wolves. That dinner was throwing her to the wolves. She had no information. She had no idea what was happening. Her grandparents are screaming, yelling, cursing at her mother, cursing at her, and she has no idea why until they're the ones that tell her and make her act like it's all her fault. Oh, you sly, conniving little girl. How dare you try to steal our money and hoodwink us? She had no idea. That's not protection, in my opinion. That is not protection. That is withholding information under the guise of protection. And who is it really protecting? It's protecting your feelings. It's protecting Kate's feelings. It's protecting Kate from having to admit to what she did. It's protecting Kate from having to face the repercussions of her sister being angry at her. And guess what? Your sister was angry anyway. Your sister was angry anyway. Your sister did not like that happened anyway. So it was you might as well have told her. Of course, it was way too late, and she learned all that very clearly, learned all that the hard way. very clearly learned all that the hard way. I just thought it was it was clearly a very grave error, but like under the guise of, oh, it's the same thing Antony's doing with Daphne, like with that old decrepit man he wanted her to marry, who was a literal menace to society and a menace to his sisters, who he only believed after a man told him that he was a menace. At what cost? At what cost does protection come? At your sister's expense? Because this protection, let me not tell my sister about my true feelings about her fiance. Let me not tell my sister her fiance's true feelings about me. Let us wait until and again, it's Antony's fault, and I am getting to him in a minute. You don't have to worry about that. The wedding day, not even the wedding day, on the altar in front of the archbishop. In front of the archbishop. I think, and I don't know, but I think Kate blames herself for why Edwina has to do all of this. I think it has to do with the fact that, like, Mary beneath her station, the dad already had Kate at the time. I think she's like, I'm the reason why Edwina cannot have this great, fantastic life, and it's all my fault, and I need to do as much as I can to protect her so she can have this great, fantastic life that she deserves. And it's like, it's not your fault, it's your grandparents' fault. It has nothing to do with you. And like, to be perfectly honest, someone that would, I know it's a different time, I understand that, someone that would disown their own child in that way was not going to be a loving, caring grandparent in the first place. Someone who would disregard and disparage their own child. It's been, look at, Kate is 20 and 6. Kate is 20 and 6. It's been a very long amount of years. And to speak with such vitriol, you haven't seen your daughter in probably 30 years. And to speak with such vitriol in front of strangers, in front of the Bridgertons, they were not going to be good, caring grandparents in the first place. And Kate, it's not your fault that they disregarded your entire family. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. They're terrible people, period. Like, but not telling Edwina about the scheme was an error, and she knows that. But I'm like, do you see the ramifications of like doing too much as a parent, as a sibling? Like, because eldest siblings can do that too. Because eldest siblings, of course, love to talk about the like parentification and all of that. There is also a flip side to that. You can do more damage. You can, and you have to be aware of that. Especially if you are to listen, you have to be aware of that. You don't want to. They can't be inept. They also, those tools that you had to learn because you were the parent's guinea pig. You have to be able to have the younger sibling develop those skills as well. And Kate's sister, Edwina, didn't have none of those. In their arguments, Edwina said that she thinks that Kate was trying to live vicariously through her. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think Kate really wanted, because the life that Edwina was describing, even now, yeah, she's a viscountess, obviously. My camera was overheating, might overheat again, so we'll see. But I was saying how, even in season 3, like, Kate is the viscountess, but she just said, how about we go back to when we were on the honeymoon and not live this life? Because doesn't seem like it's for us. I don't think Kate is trying to live vicariously through her. I don't think Kate at that time was like dreaming. She was dreaming about being with Antony. Oh, please. But I don't think she was using Edwina to kind of get the life that she. Do you think Kate would want even like that type of wedding? Now again, I don't know Kate's fictional character. I'm making things up, but I don't think Kate would even want the same type of wedding that Edwina had. I don't think so. I think the crux of the issue is Kate was trying to be a parent when she's not. She's a sister. And I think Mary, I don't necessarily blame Mary for this, but Mary is the adult in the situation. could have, and I think she even admitted it at the end of season 2, was like, I could have intervened and kind of done more. Like, you should not have had to bear the responsibility after Appa died. You shouldn't have had to like become that, like, which is a bit of parentification of older children, which kind of like led her to take on this overbearing parent role, because Mary was completely oblivious. Sorry, Mary. When she's not, you're an older sister. You're not the parent. You're not the parent. You've never been the parent. You're not supposed to be the parent, but you were made into the parent, and it's unfortunate because now, public humiliation. The queen rectified really quick, real quick. That was like commendable. But I don't think Kate was trying to live vicariously through Edwina. I disagree with Edwina. I think she kind of went for that because it was like the easiest dig, but I don't think that's true. I think Kate sees herself as more your mom than her sister, and that's just an error of like an unfortunate situation, an unfortunate death, and like Kate having the independence and maturity to take on that role. But because you have the independence and maturity to take on the role of being the de facto parent does not mean that you should. Especially because like she doesn't know how to parent, clearly. She doesn't know how to parent. That's why this happened. Anyways, next up is Edwina. My sister was trying to make it fit so bad. She was trying to make it fit so bad. They weren't even flags, honey. They were sails. It wasn't a red flag. It was a red sail. Oh, she's like earnestly naive, but she's not. And this is what because I rewatched season 2. Because the first time I was like, she seems naive, but she doesn't at the same time. And in my second watch, I was like, she is not naive. So I don't understand how this happened. Edwina's not naive. She knows things. Of course, Kate didn't tell her everything. She knows something. It doesn't just seem like she was just all la-di-da-di-da and had like, but she had no idea until the wedding. So now I'm like, were you ignoring things to get the life you were told you are supposed to have? Like, I want to ask everybody's thoughts, because I don't know. Watching the second time, it did not give me Edwina as this naive girl who had no idea, who just is oblivious to the world and has no idea the true workings of anything. So I'm like, were you purposely ignoring signs because you were like, this is the life I'm supposed to have. I'm supposed to have this life. I'm supposed to marry the Viscount. He's perfect for me, etc., etc., etc. Because when she asked Antony, do you love me or do you just want to be married to me, something like that, and he was like, both, that's not true. I want to ask her the same question. You don't know Antony. Now, to be fair, most women back then did not know the husbands they were marrying either, to be completely fair. But I don't think she loved Antony either. I don't think so. I think everyone in society, including her sister, including her mother, had told her, Viscount, period. Even though her sister was like, absolutely not, once she heard him speak, which was hilarious. So I wonder, she didn't know Antony at all. She described Antony as mild-tempered. I think she was talking to Daphne at that point, and she was like, what? She didn't know Antony at all. But he is a literal blank piece of cardboard around her. He doesn't have any of the fire, any of the spite around her. And like at the time, what else could you ask for in a husband? Someone who's like who appears to you pretty mild-tempered, appears pretty tame, isn't yelling, screaming, drunk, crying, throwing, gambling your life savings away. He clearly doesn't love her. Like, he very clearly doesn't love her and does not show any like passion in their relationship. But Edwina's told like, he's nice. That's all you could fucking ask. That's all you could want. That's all you could want. And she was just trying to be a lady. Edwina was trying to be a lady, polite and proper, Edwina is media trained. That's the definition of media trained. Kate did a very, very good job. But in teaching her sister all the proper rules and things and all the skills you need to learn in society, failed to teach her social skills. Failed to teach her, you are a woman in the society. You need to look out for yourself and notice these things. She forgot that part. Sister! Like every person on the show clocked it before Edwina. Everyone. Daphne came in and said something's amiss. Lady Bridgerton didn't even know what she knew, but she knew something was amiss. My sister had blinders on bad. During that dance at the country castle, they're always smelling each other. Just great banter for me as a viewer. Because the first time I watched season 2, I could not enjoy any of the banter between Anthony and Kate. Couldn't enjoy it. Was having an anxiety attack because I was like, what happens when the sister finds out? I couldn't watch it. The second time I was able to enjoy myself because I knew that, like, yeah, she finds out, it's horrible for a little bit, but then it gets better and she ends up with like a better match overseas. But that first time on season 2, I couldn't enjoy any of it. I couldn't enjoy any of the banter. I had no fun. I was like, objectively, I should love this, but I cannot enjoy this right now because her sister doesn't know. But back to my point. They were always sniffing each other. They were always sniffing each other. Your sibling has to be able to fend for, because she's not a parent. Parenting is also teaching your kids, giving them the skills to survive in the, Kate's not a parent. Of course she's bad at parenting. She's not a parent. She's an older sibling, even older siblings. You can't go so far that now your sibling cannot fend for themselves without you. That's not, now you're taking this parentification thing too far. They have to be able to fend for themselves without you. She watched them dance at that ball and was like, this is a totally normal in-law dance. There's nothing amiss or about that or like peculiar about the fact that my sister and future husband are dancing like that. Oops. And looking at each other like that and sniffing each other like that. There's absolutely nothing amiss about that, and that is all in fact, do I have none of my lip glosses here? And that is in fact like completely and totally normal. Like, and I can't blame her, but like, he's a Viscount, he's not an asshole, he's not like an obvious asshole, even though I think, I know, proposing to someone you know you don't love when you were given an out, when you were given many, many, many outs makes you an asshole, but he's not gambling your life savings away kind of asshole, right? And he's like objectively sort of polite around her and is not like super rude to her or whatever. He's a Viscount and she'll be a Viscountess and she'll have this perfect rich family and she'll be in the Bridgerton family that she loves and she'll have all the things that Bridgertons get, etc., etc. And she was all doe-eyed for it. She didn't know him at all, and that helped fuel that. She didn't know Anthony at all, and that helped fuel that fantasy. Anthony is not mild-mannered. Anthony is not amiable. Anthony is not calm. Anthony, he's absolutely none of those things. So that not knowing him helped make the fantasy grow and grow and grow and grow. And then her not having the skills, not being, I go back and forth because I'm like, she doesn't have the skills to see what's going on around her, but Edwina's not dumb. Like, it's not giving that to me. So now I'm like, I need to sit Edwina down. We need to have a talk because I want to figure this out. You walked in and your fiance is holding your sister's hand with the ring on. And her eyes were like, that's weird. I'm here now. Let's move. That's weird. Like, let's stop. The mom was like, oh, that's weird. Let's stop. Let's move on. They were not subtle. And even on the wedding day at the altar in front of the Archbishop, that wasn't out of the ordinary for them. That was a regular Tuesday. She dropped her bracelet and he was literally saying vows. He was saying vows. Dropped down to pick up her bracelet. When they were on that boat, what was his name? Old boy with the hair. Push him out of the way to help your sister up out of the boat. Was she like, oh, he's just being all gentlemanly and stuff? Like, I need to know. I wanna sit Edwina now. Because I'm confused. Because I'm like, I don't believe that you're like truly naive, but I also don't think your sister gave you this tools you needed to actually succeed and thrive in a society like this. She gave you the objective things you need to be able to do. Great media training, all of that. But I also don't like, I just don't know, because I also am like, Kate, did you really think that it would turn, my camera overheated again, but I was talking about, I don't know what I was talking about. I don't remember what I was talking about. I'm so sorry. But back to Edwina. I was talking about how Anthony pushed that man out of the way to get her out of the boat. Sister, they were never subtle. They were like as obvious as they were at that wedding. They've been obvious every single day for the past, I don't know how long the time period over where season 2 took place, like a year, I don't know. They were obvious the entire time. And even when Edwina directly asked, like, do you want her or the marriage? And he said both. And then he proceeded to only share reasons concerned with the marriage. He proceeded to only share reasons concerned with the marriage. He said both and then didn't mention one thing about her. Ask Anthony what Edwina's favorite color is. Say, gun to your head, what's Edwina's favorite color? What's Edwina's favorite food? What instrument does Edwina play? No, he's going to go find her sister in a random closet in the Queen's mega palace. He finds her, the Queen's palace, I don't know how many rooms is in that thing, over 100. He finds her in a random closet in the Queen's palace, but does not know not one thing about Edwina besides her name. And says, our positions make us a good match for each other. You need marriage, and I think it's, my mom keeps saying it's time for me to be married. And he was saying that in all earnest. And I was like, you think this is gonna make her like, be like, yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah, totally, let's do it. What? Anyway, so the Sharmas. So next we're moving on to the Featheringtons. I think this family is hilarious. I laugh every single time they're on my screen. They're so funny. First of all, I'll start with Penelope. My fellow sister of the perfect rest community. Let's all stand together. Absolutely. First of all, so Penelope, I really enjoy Penelope's character. I really do. I think she's very, very interesting. So I'll start with season 1. Penelope season 1 was doing a lot. Penelope, Colin don't want you. Marina wants Colin. You're mad that Marina wants Colin. You don't know that Colin wants Marina yet, but you're still angry. Then you find out that yes, Colin does want Marina back too. And then you're like, well, this can't happen. So I'm going to go out of my way to expose your secret. Not to Colin. She doesn't go directly to Colin and tells him that Marina's pregnant. She writes it in Lady Whistledown. She doesn't go have a heart-to-heart with your man that's not your man. She doesn't do that. No. She writes and exposes Marina's secret to the entire time. That's Penelope's genius of season 1. That's what Penelope does in season 1. That's what Penelope in all her genius does in season 1. Penelope's a fascinating character to me because she's a wallflower, but she's not at all. Not in the slightest. Like it's such an interest. It's also like the difference between shy and quiet. Cause like I'm somebody like if you know you know like you were called shy growing up, but you're really quiet. But like, are you shy? Are you quiet? Are you both? That's what like Penelope's like. Like she's not shy. She's quiet. I think that's fascinating. I love characters written like that. So I'm very excited to see where exactly her season goes. So she embarrassed Marina because Marina wanted her man. So she said, look what I got in my back pocket. Look at the quill I got in my back pocket. I'll show you about yourself, which is a very interesting path to take. After being so obsessed with Marina's letters, you were waiting at the door for your footmen. Are those called footmen? I'm trying to get my, vocabulary right to bring in the letters. You were sitting there on the stair step, stooped like this, waiting for letters. Then you went and said, actually, And I think it's because, I forget what exactly Marina said in that scene, where she basically tried to tell Penelope, Colin don't want you, he never gonna want you, sorry, something of that sort. I think she did because of that. But besides the point. She then decided, in all her absolute genius, to then do a very similar thing to Eloise. Thing is, Eloise would have been found out anyway. And I'm gonna get to Eloise, who I also enjoy Eloise's character. I'm sorry. I also enjoy Eloise's character. I love complex character. I love Penelope. I love Eloise. Eloise would have been found out anyway, but there was absolutely some jealousy in the exposure of Eloise. Now, she could have, because the thing is, she could have told Eloise, okay, I'm Lady Whistledown. The queen thinks it's you. The only way for it to get off your back and for, because the queen was literally threatening to murder Eloise, and Eloise did not get that. She could have said, the only way to get out of this, or the only thing that I can think of, is for me to write something disparaging about you, so the queen knows it's not you. She could have very easily, very quickly, had that conversation with Eloise, but she didn't. And why did she choose not to? Eloise can do whatever she wants and will be fine. Eloise can do whatever she wants and it will be fine. I have been Eloise's best friend for our entire lives. I have been Eloise's second. Why isn't my necklace sticking together? I have been Eloise's second for my entire life. Penelope changed Lady Whistledown's writing because of Eloise. Penelope and Eloise's relationship is so interesting to me because they're both terrible friends to each other, then also good friends. It's very interesting. Penelope is jealous of Eloise because Eloise doesn't want society, has never wanted society, is not interested in society, and still gets it anyway. At all the balls, at all the dances, people come up and ask Eloise to dance, and Eloise says no. Penelope is just sitting there. And Eloise is a Bridgerton, and her mom doesn't put her in terrible, ugly clothes, and her mom actually loves her. I'll get to Lady Featherington in a moment. Back to my point about Penelope not being a wallflower. Penelope is not a wallflower. She is someone who like separates her, like Lady Whistledown is her, who she wants to be, but who she could never be at the very same time. Like, she's not a wallflower because she's able to so easily, as soon as she finds an ally in Madame Delacroix. I'm trying to decide if it was Lacroix or Delacroix. It's Delacroix. When she finds an ally in her and she starts talking and we see her like now speaking as Lady Whistledown, her voice drops a whole octave. Like when she talks to Madame Delacroix, when they're sitting and like just conversing and talking about the next issue, her voice is loyal. Not loyal, so her voice is low. Her voice is low. She's talking more confidently, smoothly. Her pitch is, it's not going like this. It's a very smooth, she's confident and sure in herself. And it's all because she's acting as Lady Whistledown now. She's still herself. Lady Whistledown is her, but Lady Whistledown is not. Because Lady Whistledown is what she wishes she could be in every day, but quite literally could not, because this is a society. Eloise's relationship with all the Bridgertons, like Colin and Eloise, them both calling her loyal when they're asked, they weren't asked to describe Penelope, but both of them, when they were describing Penelope, used the word loyal. They didn't kind of use any other words to describe her, just said she would never do anything to us. Penelope said, just you wait. But Penelope was just there. Penelope's always gonna be there. Penelope's never gonna leave me. Her own mother's saying, I'm so grateful you'll always be here to take care of me, because Penelope's purpose is to exist for everybody else. Penelope's purpose is to make everybody else feel better about themselves. And I am so excited for this part 2, where like she's the center of attention. It's gonna go to shit because she isn't told Colin that she's Lady Whistledown. It's gonna go to shit, but finally, now she's the person, she's in charge. She's the center of attention. She's the one who's doing the thing and not just a friend standing idly by as somebody else does the thing. Season 3, her sending out in that new dress, 8 down. And her whole family are a bunch of haters. And a bunch of haters, they're staring at Penelope. They're not staring at you. They never were staring at you. They were at you, but they're staring at Penelope. Penelope's so as Lady Whistledown, it's hilarious because she just whenever she's pissed, she's like, let's go to the pen. And it's not even like, let me write it down. It's let me write it down and publish it this instant. Not even let me sleep on it. Not even, Colin said that, I'm getting to him in a second too. And she said, bet, wrote it down, published the next day. Penelope, She would love Twitter. Penelope would love Twitter. Cause it's no thoughts, all talk. No thoughts, no like, should they? No. Penelope has thoughts, writes them down and sends them out. She's not a wallflower. She doesn't want to be. She's put in that position because of who she is. And you know, like, it's not the most historically accurate thing because like, at that time period, like being a bigger person would be considered like, oh, like you want that more. But of course we're taking our current society's love of fat phobia and putting that into it. What she said about Colin wasn't that bad. Sorry. She called Eloise a radical. What she said about Colin was not that bad. That's like just another two. She said much, much, much worse. She said much, much, much worse about quite literally everybody else. What she said about Colin was just like a little slight. She's like, do you really know who you are? I think everyone has the same question when Colin came back, all this, that, and the new hair, new do, new face. It's a pretty valid question. I didn't think it was that bad. I really didn't. And then the next thing. So, season 3, part 1. I enjoyed the like, okay, teach me how to find a man. I like that trope, the like, teach me. It gets a little murky sometimes, but I enjoyed it. I enjoy it for the most part. And I did enjoy her scenes with Colin. I do think they're very cute. I don't know. I don't know much about Colin. I have not been told much about Colin. I don't know anything about Colin's life or Colin's past. So like, I don't know everything, but I enjoy their scenes together. I do think they're cute. When Penelope asked him to kiss her, she thought her life was over. She thought her entire life was over. She thought that she would become nothing. She's doomed to be a spinster. Even though her and Eloise kept saying, oh, we always dreamed of being spinsters together. Penelope's no, she hasn't. She wants a husband. Society does not want her and makes it very fucking clear every second of every day that they don't want her. She thought her life was over. So she said, who cares about honor? Who cares about the rules? I want to be kissed before I have to be completely shut away and outcasted from society. And she said, lay it on me. So that scene was like tragic and like ooh, why are you begging for a kiss? But to me, more so tragic in like, Penelope didn't think anything was worth doing anymore. She didn't think anything was worth anything anymore. She's like, everything's over. I gave myself a new look. Nobody cares. I gave myself a new look and people still make fun. People still are like, you need to call in Bridgerton to help you get a man. It's tragic. I thought it was a tragic scene, but not in like, oh, she's desperate for attention kind of way, but in like, she was like, it's over. My life is over. I'm done. I can't move on from this. I can't grow from this. And so I might as well get one last thing before I can never show my face again. So I thought that was tragic. Very, very tragic. Little did she know, Colin would not be able to sleep for the next week, or he would sleep too much to see her. Prudence and Philippa, they're funny. I laugh at nearly every single thing that they say because they're ridiculous. Prudence don't want nothing to do with men. Philippa is Philippa. Those are her sisters. That's all. I don't know what to say about them. I don't know where they found oh boy, who's the guy who replaced the cousin that she's supposed to marry. I don't know where they found him. But go off, I guess. Go off, I guess. Go off. Next up, we have Lady Featherington, who I really enjoy her character. I think she's hilarious. I think she's one of the funniest characters on this show. And I want to know why she's like that. I want to know what, who, why. I want to know that about her. And I feel like I deserve to know, and I'm wondering when it's gonna come. Because she's so much like Penelope and treats Penelope like the scum beneath her wings. You two are the only ones with a brain in your household. You're very similar. So why is Penelope seen at, I know why. I just want to know. I want to know more about her. The scene when she confronts the first Lord Featherington about gambling away their life savings and all their dowries, I could not stop laughing because she confronts him and then this lord is snot nose crying that he's been caught. She had to live with that. She had to live with that. No. She's rude. Lady Featherington is rude. She didn't need to fake that breakup letter. That was uncalled for. Everything she did to Marina was uncalled for. Completely. I forgot, like when I rewatched the show, I forgot that the Featheringtons were kind of respected before everything that happened to Marina. I completely forgot that. Because in the last 2 seasons, it's always just jokes and then going broke and then not broke and then broke and then not joke and becoming the joke of the ton to being like, and the joke of the ton again. So I completely forgot that. Like, the thing with Lady Featherington is she always thinks like 10 steps ahead, which is beneficial to have in a society like this and to have the household she currently has to operate. Like, she always gonna is like has a plan for her and her girls. Her girls, not meaning her girls as individuals, her girls meaning like her family, because she doesn't really care about her girls as individuals, especially not Penelope, but the family unit is what she cares more about, and more about protecting that. Like Lord Featherington, the second one, is a lie. He would not have told her his plan to trap Cressida into marriage. Yes, trap. He would not have told her that, and he's a liar for saying, well, why didn't you tell me? But you're a liar. She set up the orangey scheme. She brought the whole ton into the orangery. She brought the entire ton. She said, let's go look at the oranges, guys. Come on. Because she has to carve out a future for her and her family, and she can't depend on a man. Look what happened to the last man. Snot nose crying because you gambled away everything we own. Gambled away our daughter's dowries. Mom's always gonna have a plan. Like, she's always gonna have a plan, and he was a liar. He would not have told her. Lord Beth, all he did was lie. All he did was give her little heart eyes and lie. That's all he did. The second one, that's all he did. I was cheering when she abandoned him. She's like, actually, you can go to America. I'm gonna stay here because I have a family to run and a business to operate. Her business being her family. However, Lady Featherington is a little, she and Penelope are the only ones with brain cells in their family, but sometimes hers take a break. Because you just got a little bit of money and now you're throwing a gold ball. You have a spinning gazebo made out of gold at your ball. You just got your money back. And you said, let's spend it. And how would your girls know what sex is if you haven't told them that? How would they have learned that? There's no men in your house. How would they have learned what that was if you didn't tell them? Because that was a really funny scene. When she was like, inserts himself where? What are you talking about? Because how would she know? How, Lady Featherington, how was it Philippa? How would she know? You didn't tell her. Come on. And her relationship with her children, I don't want to say her relationship with Philippa and Prudence is better than Penelope, because it's really not. It's just like she actually speaks to them like human, but she doesn't. Because she thinks those two girls are dumb as rocks. She does. But she treats her smarter child like a roach. So she doesn't know how to be a mother to her at all. She doesn't know how to mother her at all. My camera does not want to see me succeed. She's not happy with me right now. But I was saying Lady Featherington doesn't know how to be a mother to Penelope at all. Like, she's so confused. Even when, Penelope's, that vegan lord, I don't know what his name is, when he walked out and, Penelope was like, do I only matter to you if I have, a lord's, engagement or, proposal? And she, was about to speak, but then shut her mouth because, Penelope is completely correct. But I'm like, she was like trying to comfort her, but like was like physically incapable of doing so. So I just want to know more about Lady Featherington. I want to know why. I want to know why. And then I'm including Marina in this Featherington household, even though she's not a part of the Featherington household, because they locked her in that room. I totally forgot. They like really, really locked her in that room and said, nobody wants to catch your pregnancy. I enjoy Marina. I think her character is tragic in like every single way. But I think something that her and Lady Featherington actually have in common is their ability to get things done. Marina said, give me a week and I will find a man to marry me that's not this decrepit old man. And she did exactly that. And she found a Bridgerton. Marina was in a really terrible situation and had a really jealous young lady in the house who exposed her secret because she liked the man that she liked. And she didn't expose her secret to the man that she liked. She exposed it to the entire time. So Marina's entire life was ruined. Didn't even give her a chance. Like, should Marina have told Colin? That's for Marina and Marina alone to decide. It's none of my business. It's not really any Penelope's business either, because Penelope was like, I have a duty to tell him. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, is it helpful information to have? I'm not denying that. Yeah, it'd probably be helpful to know that your girlfriend already has a baby. However, it really wasn't Penelope's business to tell her at all. Penelope, though, loves making things that are not her business to tell. Her business to tell. However, to talking to Marina, I don't know what, because she had a plan, but what was her plan for when her baby popped out looking full term at 5 months? Like, what was her plan then? I'm just curious, because it doesn't seem like she had one. So I'm like, was she hoping for Colin to just be a little too stupid? Just like cashed on to the fact the baby that's 5 months old shouldn't look like that? Not totally sure. But those are the Featheringtons, and now moving on to the main characters. The main characters of the show, the Bridgertons. So I'll start with George and Hyacinth. They're very, very cute. Very, lackadaisical. They're funny. Their little banter is hilarious. Very cute children. That's all I have to say. I don't know anything about them. And if the seasons take 2 years to come, I don't think we're going to know anything about them. But I don't know. I'm not a showrunner. Next, we have Violet. I really enjoy Lady Bridgerton. I really enjoy everything about her. I think, as a mother, there's some things she could do better. The man, the first guy for Daphne, scary down. Stay away from my daughter. You're really scary. You're really frightening looking. Second thing, why didn't you tell this very simple, but it's a thing that happens, I think, in society. Why didn't you tell Daphne anything about sex? Why aren't you, your children are expected to make heirs as soon as they marry, but you're not telling them the actual physical process of how it actually happens. So they're asking random ladies' maids. Can you tell me how one makes a baby? That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Violet always knows. Just in season 2, it was blatantly obvious because she was like, something is amiss here, but I can't put my finger on what exactly she is. She looked at the glances. And she was like, something's not right. I really do love her. Love Mother. I do have a question for Mother though. Why are all of your sons whores? Why do all of your sons take girls' honors in the garden? In the carriage, in the garden, in the art studio? What happened there? Just a question. Next up, we have Anthony. Where to begin with this whore with a savior complex who has a real strong desire to self-sabotage. I've never met a rake who raked so hard in my entire life. Never have, and probably never will. hated the Duke because they were twins, twinning. That's why you hated the Duke. Every woman you've ever met has read you to absolute filth. Sienna, Miss Girl from the first season, she needed to run. She needed to run. I'm so glad she did run, but you were just trying to terrorize her. Only coming to her when you were feeling sad, talking about, oh, I can't be with you anymore, I have a duty. You've always had this duty. You have always had this duty. You've always had this duty. Where's your wife? Daphne must do this. Daphne must do that. This man's not good enough for you. Where's your wife? He's only been right kind of once, and it was when he caught Simon and Daphne in the garden. That's the kind of like only correct thing he did. However, agreeing to the duel was, you see, I can't give him anything because then he takes it too far. You've been wanting to run away this entire time? Because why are you always volunteering doing illegal shit? Why are you always do this, do that, do? Imagine you killed your sister. Imagine you killed your sister. How were you gonna explain that to your mother? How are you gonna explain that to your other sisters, your other brothers? How are you going to explain that? How are you gonna explain if you got killed? No thought what he really fired that gun. Like he really, in fact, fired the gun. And it wasn't like a little like, ooh, oopsie. He really fired that gun and almost killed his sister. And almost created a scandal to top every other scandal on this show. Now on to his season. So Anthony, in all his genius and bright ideas, was to literally tear through a list of all of the eligible women like he's touring apartments. Just to be clear, that was his like bright. He said, okay, everyone's telling me that I need a husband. Everyone is telling me that. I am the oldest in my family. I have no wife. I said husband, didn't I? I have no wife. I am the oldest. I'm the Viscount. I have no wife. I have no heirs. So logically, the next best step is to interview every eligible woman in the ton, like it's a job interview, and ask them, do you want babies? Are you okay if your husband? All the women. He MMI'd all the women in the ton. That was his best idea. That was his great genius Viscount idea, was to just like interview them all and just hate them all. Yep. But he was obsessed with Kate. He was obsessed with Kate. He's sitting next to Edwina and is arguing with Kate. He's sitting next to Edwina. Edwina's right here, looking at him like this. Arguing with Kate. Getting his dumb friend to distract her, and he's a bad liar. He doesn't care about Edwina. Doesn't care. Can't name a single thing that she likes. Anthony's story is, I'm not denying that it's tragic. You know, like watching your dad die, that's gotta be crazy. And from a bee, like, ooh, anaphylaxis really killed. Because that panic attack he was having when Kate got stung, ooh, that was tragic. And then you see your father die, and now you have all these staff with no couth asking you all types of questions, berating you. I'm sorry, they were berating him. His father just died. And I understand that like now he's like the Viscount or whatever, but I understand his life is tragic. However, why is that now Edwina's problem? Why is it now Edwina's problem? And why is the problem with every other woman in the ton that your life was tragic? Why is it a pattern? Why is the pattern with these men? It's everyone else's problem that your life sucked. Everybody's life sucks. It's the 1800s. Bee stings kill. Heart failure is raw. Everybody has problems. The Featheringtons are broke. Everybody has problems, but it's somebody else's fault. Jonathan Bailey ate that yearning bad. One thing he will do is yearn, and he will when Anthony yearns with someone he cares about, he's really yearning. He's always looking for Kate first in the room. How are you introducing your family to Edwina, like the woman you're courting, and you walk up to Kate first? Daphne thought Kate was Edwina. Why Colin had to tell him to go after Edwina when Edwina didn't want to play the little croquet, that thing anymore? Why are you falling into mud piles with Kate? Because they vex each other. The way he speaks to Edwina is like it's a job interview, or like he's having small talk with a stranger. He only looks at Kate. And I can't believe neither of them realized their feelings until that hot and heavy B scene. Like, more fire in any conversation, more fire in just a regular day between him and Kate than any conversation he's ever had with Edwina. And he still proposed to her. And Kate stepped over a log and her calf was exposed, and he looked physically ill. He was touching her, just in the unchaperoned in the woods on the hunt, just touching all over her and smelling her, and then proposed to Edwina. How y'all keep finding each other in these big ass castles, in these big castles, 1 room out of 40? Why are you always in a compromising position, Anthony? Why are you always in a compromising position, Anthony? But I can't call him a rake, right? That's rude. And the hot and heavy heaving in the garden, the almost jumping to those bones in the library, and propose to her sister after all that. And I'm supposed to respect this man. I do now, because he's just a yearner. That's all he does now, is talk about how wonderful his wife is and everything, which is great. But I can't respect you. I can't respect you. Push the other man out of the way to help her out of the boat. And the only other good thing he did do was when Lady Mary's parents were there, he ate that up. It's the least he could do after the torture he put Edwina through the past season. It's the least he could do, but it was a good thing that he did that. When he's about to propose to, because this is all why I have no respect for him. So you had an ample opportunity to propose. You decided you weren't going to propose, and then you give her a half done, half ass, half baked proposal. Why are you running down the stairs, stopping her before she's about to get in the carriage? And Kate was about to tell her right then and too. It's unserious all around. I'm sorry. It's unserious all around. It's unserious all around. And then when they finally, everyone figures it out. Edwina figures it out. This is one thing that really bugged me about him, which is a common thing that I see just in general. He's always looking for someone else to end things so he doesn't have to do the hard thing. And he's saying oh, I would lose my honor if I were to call off the wedding. And maybe that's true, but you're also a Viscount. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to publicly, you don't have to go out in front of the ton and say, I'm the one ending the engagement. But he's looking for Kate to end it. He's like, Kate, why don't you end it? Edwina, why don't you? Everybody else, Mother, why don't you? Everybody else looking for someone else to end things so he doesn't have to actually do hard things. You're a Viscount. You're a Viscount. You're a Viscount. You could have told Edwina at any point, I have the duty to marry her. You really don't. You have the duty to marry somebody because you need to produce an heir, but you really don't have to marry her. And you certainly did not have to string her along until the literal day of her wedding. The day of the wedding. You're giving vows to each other and not paying attention to your wife. The Archbishop has to wake you up out of your daydream. You're dreaming about marrying her sister. You're daydreaming during your wedding. He couldn't even fake awe when watching Edwina walk down the aisle. He was looking at Kate the entire time. You're watching Kate. You're not watching Edwina. Lady Bridgerton is over there scowling during the wedding something's amiss. And Mama was right. And then Edwina runs out, and then they make out on the altar. The wedding ended 16 seconds ago. The entire ton is outside. And they said, this is the perfect opportunity. They're so unserious, and that's where they belong together. They love self-sabotage. Because why are we constantly doing things we're not supposed to within 15 feet of everybody who could make our lives complete and utter hell? It's self-sabotage. It's self-sabotage. And Anthony loved looking around woe is me, my life is so hard, everything is so awful. He would have gone through with that wedding if Kate did not drop that bracelet. That's nobody's fault except for your own. Everything is so difficult for Anthony. Poor Anthony. His life is so hard. You have the most power out of quite literally everybody on the show except for Queen Charlotte. I don't think so. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Sorry. Like, but I do enjoy how obsessed he is with Kate. His sister, his baby sister, was exposed as a radical. And he said, Kate? Where's Kate? Where's Kate? Is Kate here? Is Kate coming back? Who cares that Eloise's entire future was almost ruined? Where's Kate? Where's Kate? And when Kate like almost died, like that, oh, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. And he refused to visit her because he thought he killed her. And he was yelling at his family, getting angry at his family, getting testy with his family because he wanted to yell at Kate for dying. Because he wanted to yell at her and say, how dare you leave me? How dare you leave me alone in this world without you? How dare you separate? How dare you exist in a different realm than me? I need you. We need each other. The yearning was good. I have no respect for him, but the yearning was good. I can't deny. I can't deny. And I could only enjoy it the second time around. I can't deny it. I can't deny it. I can't. And Shonda said, you're gonna eat. You're gonna eat. Get to work. Get to work. Loved it. Next, I'm just going in alphabetical order. I didn't at first, but now for like the rest, like the older kids who are out in society. Next, we have Benedict. Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Month, everybody. He does not want this eldest son lifestyle at all. I don't blame him. He wants to drink, smoke, paint, and fuck everybody. And I mean, Benedict is for everybody. And I think he's hilarious. I love his relationship with his younger siblings. He actually like is a sibling to them. Like, why is he the only one that Eloise can talk to? He's the only one actually engaging and playing with George and Hyacinth besides Anthony in that one singular scene. Like, Benedict just wants to paint and see mess play out, and I love that and I respect that dearly. I think he's hilarious. And his season, if it ever comes, I might be a resident by the time it comes. I'm excited for it. Mommy issues? Question mark? Mommy issues? Question mark. Not sure. Might have to get back on that. Not sure, but not sure. Next up is Colin. There's a lot to do. You don't count. That's where I'll begin with Mr. Colin Bridgerton. You're not a woman, you don't count. That's where I'll begin with Colin Bridgerton. Let me tell you, I'm enjoying season 3, and I do think he does really, really like her and really, really love her, and I do think he's obsessed with her. However, I need to see a significant amount of yearning and much more embarrassment if I'm to co-sign this. Because to go from saying you don't count to friend zone, I have never seen a friend zone so like drawn in this. It was almost like he wrote it in stone, word to Moses. So I'm gonna need it to see, he's gonna need to be humiliated a little bit more for me. Part 2 just came out, so maybe he will, I don't know, I haven't watched it yet, all right? Colin is not the brightest bulb, and that's saying a lot, seeing the state of the men in this ton. Why did he visit Marina in season 2? What did he think? Did he think Marina was just gonna jump into his arms and, you know, frolic with you in the garden happily ever after? Like, genuine question. What did he think was to come of that? If I'm gonna use their vernacular. What was to come of that? Curious, just wondering. Because I don't see a reason, that's why I'm saying he's not the brightest bulb. I would never date Penelope Featherington, that's laughable. I wanted to jump him myself. Penelope should have taken that money, hired some goons, and put out a hit. That's why I'm like, what she wrote in Lady Whistledown was very, very tame. I think it's a valid point. Why Colin acting brand new? He came back here, new face, new muscles, new arms, new eyebrows. It's a valid question. He came back from gallivanting across the world acting brand new. I don't know. He destroyed Penelope's confidence with like 3 sentences and went off to become this, I'm brand new suave man? It's a valid question. The men liking him more now, biggest red flag of all. You got to go back to who you were. And I'm not saying, of course, you can't like grow and change. It's also interesting how like Colin had a reinvention at the same time that Penelope had a reinvention for like similar but opposite reasons. Because we don't know who Colin is. Do you guys know who Colin Bridgerton is? Because I don't. I don't know anything about him. I don't know his likes. I don't know his interests. All I know is he's always traveling the world every 6 months. That's all I really know about him. And I don't know what he likes. I don't know. I assume he enjoys travel since he does it so much. I know he's a physically strong man because he helped pull a hot air balloon, but I don't know anything about him, unfortunately. And that's where I think we have it's an error to make an 8-episode season split into 2 parts. But this is another reason why I don't know him. I don't know him at all. What happened in his childhood? Where was he the night that the father died? What happened? I want to know. I don't know anything about him. But back to him and Penelope. I do think he loves her. I do think that because the looks don't lie. From the second he offered to teach her, that's when it's because why would you do that? What would make you, like, yeah, they've been like friends for a long time, but like what would make you do that? And then when they were alone in the Bridgerton house, like in the whatever room that was, and when Penelope started talking about his eyes, like when he was like, what would you say to me if like I, like also like, why are you the one acting as her lover in a situation? When she started talking about his eyes, he looked like he was gonna pass out. That's one thing. Anthony yearns just by sniffing and just going into it all. Colin looks physically ill. When he yearns. Like when he found out that Penelope might get proposed to at the last ball. My hands are a mess. He looked fit when like Violet was coming and was like, are you ready? He looked physically ill. He looks ghastly. Pallor everywhere. He looked green, did he not? But back to that scene in the Bridgerton house, like he looked like he was about to pass out when she said that about his eyes. All that suaveness, gone. New Colin, gone. He was like, oh my goodness. Oh my, that's why I'm like, I don't know if it was true. Was that, I think that was before the kiss. I don't know if it was the kiss. The kiss definitely solidified things for him, but I'm like, you had some feelings before, young man, and you did. He ate the hot air balloons, you know. I am not above admitting things. He ate the hot air balloons. He did. I'm not above that. I love jealousy. The Lord Vegan. Sorry, I don't know your real name. Lord Vegan. And Penelope. I love jealousy. I love a jealousy trope. I do. It's not enough for me because you're not gonna get Penelope that easy when you embarrassed her. You're not on my watch. I don't write the show, but not on my watch. It's not gonna happen. He's physically sick at the thought of not being next to Penelope. But the thing is, I'm seeing this, but I'm wondering where, like, where did it come from? They've been friends for years, but like what happened? Like, was it also, what happened on these trips to Greece? What happened to, who is Colin? Who is Colin? What was happening in Greece, in Italy? We know he was raking about. We understand that. But did he really have an out-of-body experience? Is this, Lady Elizabeth is asking the questions I want to ask the writer. I want to know because I don't know that stuff. Because I do believe that Colin is in love with Penelope, but I don't know why. I don't know what changed. I don't know. He's known her his entire life. I don't know what changed. All I know now is when he's not near her, he's physically ill. He's sleeping 13 hours to see Penelope in his dreams. That's what I know. That's what I know now. Like, he ran after a horse in a carriage. He caught up to a carriage. They went by a horse. That's the evidence that I have, but I want to know why. Someone on TikTok brought up how so far in season 3, part 1, there have been no flashbacks, and in every other season there were kind of like flashbacks about like one of the main characters' like life. And I do think that's interesting, and I'm wondering like why. I'm wondering like maybe that's part of the reason why I also feel like I don't know anything about Colin, because there's no flashbacks. So I'm just curious about that. I thought that was a really interesting point that somebody on TikTok made. I'm just curious because why did he change his entire personality and hair? And he might not even know that. He might not even know that because Colin, sorry, sir, he be running into things head on. Like, let's take a minute. He met Marina and was like, marriage? Marriage now? Marriage, let's cross the border. Marriage now. He's an interesting one. I do really believe he's in love with Penelope. He looks stressed. He was sending himself, I don't know. What were they called it? Pancreas something. He's sending himself into that. He's sending himself into that. So I do believe the love story. I'm like, okay, you told me that? No, like, I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything about him besides what he said about Penelope in past seasons, and that's not working for me. It's not working for me because they're not good things. All right, next up we have Daphne. So Anthony tried to ruin her season, as he does. He tried to ruin her season. Who's gonna try to talk to her if her Viscount brother is sitting right next to, that's not gonna happen. We're about to have her marry a hag. We're about to have her marry a predator and a creep. No couth and no shame. And who was this alleged fictional man that was gonna be good enough for Anthony? It's in his imagination. It's in his imagination. Daphne couldn't even lie about liking the prince. She was obsessed with Simon from jump. The prince was kind of bland. I don't know what she's supposed to do with all that. I don't know what she's supposed to do about that. Like, when Simon told her, like, what, like, self-pleasuring was, like, what is she supposed to do with the prince? Nah. She was in love with Simon. Real bad. Real bad. I don't know anything much about Daphne. Like, the first season was okay, in my opinion. I don't really know much about Daphne. I know that she wants children and can kind of play the pianoforte, but not as good as her sister. That's about it. I don't know. I know that she's probably her mother's favorite because she was like a really good diamond. I don't know. Now, Daphne, we have to address something. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. I think cursing Simon out would have sufficed rather than that, at best, murky, at worst, criminal episode in the bed. I think cursing him out would have sufficed. He is a liar. He's a liar and knew he was a liar and knew you didn't know any better, to be clear. That's all true. But I think you could have just cursed him out. I don't think there was another option. I don't know why that was the choice made at all. I don't know anything about Daphne, so I have nothing to say. I don't know anything about her. She got married. She has 2 kids. She sometimes come around, face card. But everybody in this show, face card down. The women. The men are fine too, but it's women. So I don't know anything about Daphne. I have nothing else to say besides that. That's all I know about her. So next up, Miss Eloise. And I want to start off by saying I enjoy Eloise's character. I do. This is all she does. This is all she does. Yeah! It's all she does. I enjoy her character though. I never said I'm a Gemini. Things don't make sense. Eloise thinks she's so smart, but genuinely thought a servant had the time to be Lady Whistledown. She literally was like, I caught you. So who are you really smart, Eloise? No. She's someone who does live to be a contrarian. However, look at the society that she's living in. I'd be a contrarian too. Everyone's like, you must get married and your value in life is getting married. And she's like, actually, no, I don't want to interact with men. Happy Pride Month. Her and oh goodness. Eloise's relationship with Penelope. Her friendship was, I think it was bad. I think it was equally bad. it was using each other, Eloise more so than Penelope, but also like true love in like a friendship way. To me, it reminded me of Meredith and Christina from Grey's Anatomy. I don't know. That's what their friendship reminded me of. Like, they care for one another, but they both have their own reasons for being fucked up and like don't know how to like actually like talk about it. And then also like one of them is in a like objectively more disadvantaged situation than the other one is. Like, I don't know. That's what her relationship with Penelope reminds me of. Like, was Penelope wrong for like using Lady Whistledown? That might not have been the best way to go about it. I don't deny it's not the best way to go about it, but I think she resents Eloise and has for a very long time, and that was a way to like, she was right. Oh, it was the only way I could save you. It wasn't the only way she could save her. That's objectively not true, and that's why I think it was resentment. A little bit of it was. She did need to get the heat off of Eloise, but there are other ways to go about it. I'm not sure of the other ways to go about it. I'm not really sure about other ways to go about it. I like Eloise, but she talks at Penelope. She talks at Penelope. She doesn't talk to Penelope. She talks at her. Like, no one else can do what you do, Eloise, because you have a kind, loving mother and a lot of siblings to make heirs. That's why you're able to do this anyways. Why you're able to live your life, I'm gonna be a spinster, I'm gonna be happy. Yeah, you probably will be, because your mother loves you, you have lots of siblings who can make lots of heirs, and your siblings love and respect you. Penelope is literally the step-sister in her own house. Penelope was wrong for exposing Eloise as a radical. However, Eloise would have been found out anyways. She told Theo her real name. She did not wear a disguise. She, in fact, only started wearing a cloak after the queen threatened to murder her. That's the only reason she started wearing a cloak. She had her very expensive carriage parked in the middle of the street. That's what happened. She showed up at the bad part of town with a massive carriage. Is she as smart as she claims to be? No. She went back to the paper, whatever the store, the printing shop, after the queen threatened her life and her family. She always thinks everything will be okay because everything will be okay for her. She can be a spinster and be fine because her family genuinely loves her. She can reject suitors, make up fake names because she's a Bridgerton. At the end of the day, it's a winning name. Who cares? Who cares if she's like 3 seasons out? Cressida is being looked at crazy by her family. I mean, Violet's, Lady Bridgerton's like not looking at Eloise, well, she's like, what's going on? But it's not the same, it's not to the same degree. It's not to the same degree. And back to Penelope, like, the resentment goes both ways. The resentment goes both ways because once Eloise found out that Penelope was Lady Whistledown, she's mad that Penelope made a name for herself without Eloise's help. Because Penelope is supposed to be Eloise's help. Penelope is supposed to make Eloise feel better about herself. She is. Penelope is supposed to make Eloise feel like her life is a lot better than it actually is, and she's a lot smarter than she actually is, because she does not take Penelope seriously. The entire ton, it's not just Eloise, the entire ton does not take Penelope seriously. That's why even when she was looking fabulous in the start of season 3 when she went through that whole wardrobe change. The ton didn't take her seriously. They don't take her seriously. Nobody takes her seriously. Eloise, her best friend in the world, did not take her seriously. Like, I just think their relationship was like very give and take, but like Eloise can take and take and take, but nothing will actually happen to her. Penelope needs to get married. Even if Penelope didn't want to get married, Penelope needs to get married. Her family is always broke. Always broke. She has 2 nincompoops for sisters who, when they married men without rank and title, but even if they married people with ranks and titles, would not give any of their money to Penelope. She's a mother who like seems incapable of loving her. I don't know. It seems like she literally physically cannot do it. And so push came to shove. Penelope loves gossip and said, I can make money off of gossip. I can create a name for myself. Penelope walked the walk. She talked the talk and walked the walk. All Eloise does is this. What do you mean you're this genius, radical, feminist, whatever? You're a genius? Why are you showing up to a printer shop in a bad part of town and telling them your real name? Why are you going to radical meetings wearing your royal clothes? Why is your very expensive carriage parked in the street? I don't understand. I don't understand. Even with her becoming friends with Cressida, you have backup on backup on back. You were just ruined. They said you were radical, and she still is like this. It's not like the society is like completely moved on. They might when we find out who Lady Whistledown is. But the next season, she's still in society. Yes, like Cressida's father does not want her to talk to Eloise, and I'm sure people do not look at Eloise like well or anything, but she's still able to exist in society. She did not have to go into hiding. Because you're a Bridgerton. She gets to play this like radical, like I'm too good for everyone else, mean girl. She gets to play that. She likes to play that. She gets to play that part however she wants. Also, like, you're a radical feminist, too good for everyone, you're better, you think you're smarter than everyone, and then you become a mean girl and fall in line with Cressida real quick. Now you're gossiping amongst your new friends. Now you're rolling your eyes amongst your new friends like Cressida. You're surprised that Penelope wants a husband. When has she not? Like, you didn't want one, she wanted one. You just thought she could never get one. You just assume that because you always talk at Penelope. You don't listen to Penelope. Why Cressida had to read you? Why Colin told you, please don't share the fact that I helped Penelope. And you decided to tell Cressida. And Cressida isn't the one that told everybody, but she decided to tell Cressida loudly at a ball in front of a lot of people who make Penelope's life a literal living hell. You've known and I really don't like the fake, like, oh, when Cressida stepped on Penelope just face, like Eloise was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Girl, that's your friend. What are you sorry for? You chose to become friends with Cressida. You did. You chose to become friends with all these girls who you think are so beneath you, who think are so dumb and stupid, and how could you like, what's that? How could you like cross stitching? Oh, that's so dumb. Oh, so dumb. These are your friends. Why do you think you're so much better than everybody else? You were rather indiscreet when talking about Penelope and Colin's secret. And Cressida, Cressida reading me, I would go into hiding. I would go into hiding. If Cressida read me and read me to filth, I would go into hiding. Let me make that perfectly clear. Nobody has told Eloise about herself. Nobody has told her about herself. She's a real white lady. Like Penelope did a little bit in that fight they had at the end of season 2, but she didn't really go for it. She didn't really go, why are you like this? Why are you so insecure? Because if you were really, why can't you walk that walk? You're upset. Penelope's right. You were upset that Penelope did what you literally could never. You have everything in the world and still were not able to do what Penelope does because you don't actually stand for something. Well, I'm not saying that Penelope creating like a gossip blog is her standing for something, but you're Bridgerton. You can technically do whatever you want. She's a woman, so like she can't do whatever she wants, but she doesn't. Why? You said in this season, she said, I almost got ruined last season, so I'm just gonna fall in line. I thought Eloise, who was too good and so much better than everybody else, would never do that. You're wearing ruffles? You're wearing ruffles? What happened? I would have never thought. It's because you talk the talk, but you never walk the walk. Nobody has really told her about herself and said, I see you for who you are. Penelope is probably the one who knows her best, but Penelope didn't even really go for it in the way that she could have. Eloise is a fascinating character to me. I think she's so interesting in a train wreck sort of way, because I think she is just lost in the sauce of being a Bridgerton and doesn't know who she is and like uses her interest as a way to like kind of like be like, oh, I'm this type of person, but you don't actually uphold any of the values that you read about and talk about so much. Because why? I guess she did get ruined last season, but who are you? What do you really stand for? Who do you fall for? Who'd you die for? Who? Who are you, Eloise? Who are you? What makes you you? What you like, what you not like. We know you think you're better than everybody else, but what else? Do you have hobbies? I know she likes to read. She seemed the most like content when Kate was there. I hope she talks to Kate more to kind of like figure out herself and figure out, you know, what she likes and what she doesn't like. And maybe Cressida will teach her how to be a better friend. Could you imagine? I could not have imagined myself watching season 1 or 2 saying something like that. Because Cressida had to tell you about yourself a little bit. Had to say, actually, you're the one being a mean girl right now. Why are you gossiping about your supposed friend? You're doing exactly what she hates Penelope for doing. Now, this whole thing with Lady Whistledown, will she tell Colin, will she not tell Colin? Eloise is a messy bitch, so she'll tell Colin. I don't know how that's gonna go. I feel like if Penelope tells him first, he'll be like, okay. Colin don't really care about much. Eloise telling him, not sure. Not sure. Because I'm wondering if it's gonna be like, oh, it's information he needs to know, or I just don't want Penelope to date my brother. Which is that's a valid thing. It's your best friend of like so many years dating your brother might not be the happiest about it. That's valid. Eloise is not like absolutely off her rocker from not potentially being the happiest with that. But I'm like, I think Eloise's character is fascinating in a train wreck way. I think Penelope's character is fascinating in not a train wreck way, but just in like, she's been so slighted by society and she's running society. She's been like under Eloise's thumb and now she really has a lot of power in her relationship with Eloise. But now Eloise knows she's Lady Whistledown. Why was Eloise tearing up her room like that? I don't know. That was disrespectful. Even if you said, why are you tearing up her room like that? That was rude. That was rude. But Eloise has no couth. Eloise has never had any couth, actually, matter of fact. So that's not really surprising to me. Different day, but I didn't think I said this in the video. I enjoy Eloise and Theo. I think that would have been very, very cute. Considering the circumstance, no. But that was when Eloise like admitted that she liked him. That's how I like Eloise and I don't know. I like Eloise because that was the most difficult thing in the world for that girl. She looked like she was getting a tooth extraction, trying to say, I have feelings. I recognize that I have feelings and I have feelings for you and I'm going to admit them now. Because she was absolutely miserable doing it, but she did it, which I'm happy for her, proud for her about. But I like the two of them together, though that can't happen. Unfortunately, Eloise, I'm so sorry. She's like, I have feelings for you. I have to admit I have feelings for you, a man. I have to admit that you make me happy, a man, you make me happy. Mama's looked like she was getting a root canal, but she did it, period. And then it all went to shit. Ooh. But Eloise, who are you? What do you truly want in life? Or is your life, do you exist as a contrarian? That's not a life to live. What do you believe in? We know what you don't believe in, because I get it, sister. Marriage? No. Nah. Marriage that time? Nah. Look how unhappy everyone is. I understand you. However, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Penelope sees that society's not going well for her and is like, I want to do something. I want to take my love of gossip and create Lady Whistledown. And she did. And it's a business and she's running it. Everything you said you believe in, but don't believe in, but can you do something like that? Can you create something out of nothing and make it your own? Or do you just simply exist to be the contrarian and the opposite of everybody else? Who is Eloise? Who is Eloise Bridgerton? I don't know. We'll see if we find out. Last but certainly not least, we have Francesca. I love Francesca. I've known her for 4 episodes, so I don't really know her all that well. I love Francesca. My sister said, talk to me about music or nothing else. I don't care. I love that. She said, why are you speaking to me? Music? No? Okay, conversation over. That's my sister. That is my, if you know, you know, that's my sister. This man, I forget his name. I'm so sorry. I'm not good with names, but I think they're cute together. You know, I don't know if like Francesca's like really into him or just into the fact that he gave her the sheet music that she loves. That was cute. He's a nice silent man. I love a nice silent man. That's her man. She sees him on the street. She stops. She runs up to him. She says, "Hi." And she's smiling like she's never smiled before. Her mom is like, "What's going on?" The queen keeps losing. Why you keep matching these Bridgerton girls up with people you know? It's not working. It has never worked. She didn't even, because would you like somebody the second, I say this again, the second time you meet, "I want to have 8 children." She should have stepped on his foot. Like, I think I don't know, like, because it's only been 4 episodes and they've not had one conversation besides like, "Oh, I walked away from you abruptly without as so much as a goodbye in order to get this sheet music that you said that you wanted." Okay. So I'm not sure, but I know I like Francesca. And I think they'd be cute together, but I think they'd be cute together. However, I don't know if that's what Francesca wants. I think Francesca wants to play music and to be left alone. That's what I think. And I fuck with that. I do. So those are the characters of the ton. Oh my God, I did get water. I do not know how long this video was. Sorry. But you know, overall, I enjoyed it. I had a really good time watching it the first time, and I had a really good time watching it the second time. I think it was because when I started the first season, I was like, this doesn't feel like a Shonda show. And then I got to episode 3, I think, when like Daphne figures out like that's how babies are made, and like everything about the tone of the whole show changes. I'm like, oh, this is a Shonda show. Season 2 was excellent. The second time around. The first time around, I was stressed. I was really, 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 really stressed because it was unserious from every angle. Both Kate and Anthony. Anthony more so because you're the one who sat your grown ass down on one knee and proposed to her. You're grown ass. You're a big grown man. You're a grown man. Nobody asked you to propose to her. Nobody did that. Nobody made you do that. At your big age. Not 20 and 9. At your big age. Nobody made you do that. Nobody made you do that after you had already had this self-discovery that, oh, I'm in love with her sister. Nobody made you do that. So it's unseriousness all around. Should Kate have told her sister? Absolutely. I'm not here to deny that. Should Kate have told her sister? Absolutely. However, the man who proposed to her in a haste, I want him to answer for his crimes. But everybody's happy now. Edwina's living life, whatever. Season 2 was excellent. Excellent. Season 3 so far, it's, I like Penelope. I enjoy Penelope. I enjoy her character. So I'm enjoying like her parts of season 3. I enjoy Francesca. I enjoy her character. I'm enjoying her part season 3. I don't know shit about Colin. So, he's on my screen. I watch him. I have yet to see the level of embarrassment that is required for me to be fully supportive of this relationship. I do think he's in love with her though. But I have not seen an adequate level of embarrassment and humiliation that I need to see before he gets the opportunity to be with Penelope. I think he deserves a little bit more embarrassment because Penelope's a catch. So I think he should grovel. I think he should get on his knees. That's just me. That's season 3. I said I was going to talk about makeup and hair. Take that shake and go wig off Eloise now. I'm not asking. Take it off now and burn it. And putting it on that little child was egregious. Take it off. Penelope Sarah's my favorite. Eating down. The first season was I have never seen nothing like that before in my life. That was really unique. That was really unique and really special. And, it matched Penelope's personality in the first season, which is not her personality. Her personality is her personality is when she's talking to Madame Delacroix as Lady Whistledown. That is Penelope. That's Penelope. Everything else is who everyone else expects of Penelope. So interesting to me. Love her hair. I loved Kate's hair after, you know, their little frolicking and escapades in the garden. I loved her hair then, loved it. It looked, oh, face cards on this show. Let me tell you, I could buy a house. I could buy in this economy, I could buy a 7-bedroom house with the face cards on this show. Yeah, Shonda said we have a quota. We do. The makeup is, in some scenes I can't tell if it's the makeup or the lighting, but I need my girls to look bright, not light, not that, but bright. The dullness, the sunkenness, I don't need that. I need them to look lively and, alive. Just a thought. Also, sparkly highlighter on Francesca in the 1800s is really interesting. Also, carved out brows in 1816 is really interesting. But you know what? It's Bridgerton. I'm not watching a documentary. I'm watching mess. I'm watching pretty people in mess. So I'll let you rock. But those are all of my thoughts on Bridgerton season 1 through season 3 part 1. My favorite characters are Penelope and Eloise. Makes no sense. And Lady Mandrills. And Lady Danbury. That. I would say Violet too. And I would say, okay, I can't pick that many favorite characters. I like Penelope and Eloise and Lady Danbury. That's my children's food. I'll wait for it to finish. Penelope, Eloise, Lady Danbury, and Francesca. Honestly, I don't know. I think Penelope is fascinating. I think Eloise is fascinating. Who are you? I don't think she even knows that. I don't even think she knows that. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Bridgerton. Hope you enjoyed. Hope this wasn't super long and boring. Because I don't know. It's currently 12:15. I don't remember when I started, but it definitely was not 11 o'clock. It definitely was not 11 o'clock. So I forgot to say how I feel about the foundation and the concealer. I don't like one of them. I can't tell which one it is I don't like. Because I don't like the way my makeup turned out. I don't. I objectively do not. I need to try that foundation with the concealer I typically use. Because even as I was putting the Hourglass one on, I was like, this is not the type of concealer that I typically like to use. I like to use something a little bit more watery. So I could try this foundation with a different concealer. But, not sure. I don't know my feelings about either one of them yet, but there's something I don't like. I think it's the concealer I don't like. But I also maybe think I should use that concealer with a different type of foundation with a much more because the About Face was giving to me kind of dewy girl, go on the go, skin tint foundation. Not that, but that type of foundation. And the Hourglass was giving very so I think I might try it with the Urban Decay Face Bond one. Yeah, I think there was a mix and match that my makeup typically looks a lot better than this, by the way. If this is your first time watching my channel, it typically looks a lot better than this. But anyways, thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts. I know everybody has thoughts on Bridgerton. I am very late to the party. Dodging spoilers was that was a lot for me. I already knew that Anthony ended up with Kate. If I didn't know that going into that season, that would have been a mess. That would have been an absolute mess, and I just tapped out. I would have just tapped out personally. But it was obvious from probably episode 2. Actually, from the horse. Because why are you chasing after a single lady in a field, Anthony? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you had a great time. If you want to check out some resources to support different causes, they're all linked in my the resources document and also in my link tree. I've linked Operation Olive Branch. And yes, thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to follow me on social media, those are also linked down below. Super fun, yay, yay, yay. And yes, stay safe, stay healthy, stay cool. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.